Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's BAInsights session. Today, we're talking about how to set up or setting up a business analysis community of practice. I've got an excellent guest to come and join us on that conversation to talk about some various things relating to a BA community of practice, rather, I can't even say the words. But before we get into it, let's let Vadim introduce himself. Vadim, if you wouldn't mind, please just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, hello, John. Thank you for having me on your show. I've been in business analysis for quite a number of years now. Most of my career has been and is currently taking shape within Colruyt Group in Belgium, which is one of the largest retailer organizations within Belgium, with several kinds of stores. We have around 30,000 employees in total, of which about 1,000 are active in IT, supporting all that is necessary to keep those stores and supply centers up and running. As it pertains to the topic of today, we also have about, within IT, 300 analysts active, business analysts, solution analysts, and so on. And I'm essentially the community owner of that. I run, together with some other people, activities outside of normal training to bring those business analysts together, have them share ideas and insights.
Excellent, thank you, Vadim. And so, definitely an expert that we can rely on for this session to share an expert view. So, thank you. So let's get straight into the session then in that case. And just if we could start with you sharing your view as to how do individuals benefit from a BA community of practice and having one in their organization?
Well, there's a couple of things that you can depend on for your community. First of all, most of the companies will offer traditional training, whether it be within the company or outside of the company. But a community of practice is more than just simply training. It's about sharing ideas and experiences, connecting with colleagues. And for us, that community that we offer entails all of those things. So we have formal, smaller sessions about a new piece of software, about a new methodology, about something related to the latest developments within AI, and keeping it short. Now, what that benefits to the people joining us is that they have bite-sized new pieces of information and that we can keep them up to date rather than having them go to training every year for a couple of days dedicated, so that we sprinkle it throughout the year, and that also they can meet with colleagues working basically in the same job, but within a different context, which can also offer them new insights or even helping each other along.
Thanks. And I like the idea of sort of sprinkling topics across the year as well. I think that's a very nice way of putting things because, as you say, it allows the BA community to connect and to share insight or to pick up insight and learning all the way through. And I assume really in your community, as with ours, that where you're having these several sessions throughout the course of the year and fairly regularly, that it also provides an opportunity for business analysts to ask some very specific questions about how to progress a situation that they're in. So that's certainly the case at Capco. We have at least monthly connects with the BA community. We have a few other connects with specific accounts and smaller groups as well. But at least our monthly community session is an opportunity for individuals to turn up with questions about how they might progress a particular situation that they're encountering during their day-to-day project, and they get the benefit of not only an answer from a few of us that are in the core team within the community, but hopefully others that are also doing work on projects can share their perspective as well. It's probably quite reassuring, I hope, for those people that are not asking that particular question, that they get to realise that actually there are others with questions and that not everyone's having a 100% seamless journey through their BA projects.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It helps people put things in perspective, what is going on in their projects or what is difficult or just going well within their part of the business and within their projects, and how to share those experiences and have other people benefit from that. I've seen it on numerous occasions. where analysts from different teams inspired each other and really made a difference.
And that's another really good point. I mean, certainly I've been able to share regularly what different individuals from the community have been working on, what they've delivered. It's a good way to sort of almost inspire some others, perhaps into a different approach or an approach that they could follow, or maybe just to reassure them that they're applying similar techniques in a similar way. It gives them the opportunity to perhaps be reassured that they are doing the right things. And maybe by having a few of the community come and speak and attend sessions throughout the year, hopefully it might also inspire others in the community to come and share what they're doing as well. Yeah, certainly the case for us. I mean, we tend to try and promote within the community if someone's working on something, whether it's in the last month or previously, and they're particularly proud of it, or they think it's valuable, or it's had some good feedback from the client, to try and share it during one of our preceding monthly sessions. So it's an opportunity to do many of those things we've just discussed and just showcase something we do as BAs, showcase different approaches, and actually maybe put more of a personal face against the topic, because you can actually see that there's real people doing this work, people in the community.
True, true. And you hit the nail on the head there, because it's not a community if everything has to come from the top. It has to go bottom up as well.
Yeah.
We'll go into it later, but having an active community means not only people attending certain gatherings, whether they be informal or focused on a specific methodological or technological topic. It also entails that people are willing to bring something and giving them the opportunity to showcase themselves to the rest of the community and the rest of the organization. Then you have an active community, of course.
That's right. And I'm sure we'll come on some questions in relation to that in a bit. So we sort of touched on the individual benefits or the benefits for the individual. But how in turn does the organisation benefit from the BA community where you are?
Well, in terms of the company benefit, anytime you can increase the maturity and the skills of your employees, the teams that they're working in, the projects that they're working on, the businesses that they support, will in the long term see those benefits from having better skilled people. Now, that's one thing. Another thing that I've noticed is that a closer knit community is a happier community. People have the sense that they can express themselves. They have more sense of validation within the workplace, which also, from a company's perspective, that builds retention and it supports recruitment. If you post about your activities on LinkedIn, you're showing that you're active and what is happening within the company, not just mainly focused, oh, we delivered this magnificent project, but also we're bringing people together, is something that's quite appealing in terms of recruitment standpoint.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, and it means that you don't have to manage everything from a central point. You don't have to have that one person who's the head of BA, for example, dictating exactly how everybody who's in that team and organisation have to work. It means that that to a large extent the organisation can organically adapt and adjust as the demands of projects and clients and the needs of the team as that evolves. Because who better than to evolve than the team that are doing the work? Really, I think that can definitely help.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like the point you made as well about like the retention, happier members of the staff as well. Because I think it's quite easy sometimes as BAs we can be assigned to a project, maybe working on our own as a BA, might be working of course with other developers and the business of course, but maybe it's easy to get lost to some extent and to stop the appreciation that there are other BAs that you can learn from and others that you can get help from, and that regular interaction with the community can sort of reinforce that there is help for you as well, so you can go and ask for it. I think again, for the organisation, that can only improve morale. It can improve the skills and improve the overall the outcomes and delivery, I think, of the business analyst team.
Yeah, and that community working is not only just for us as business analysts. Within our company, we have the same for our developers, our project managers, they too congregate around topics. And it's an investment from the company itself to allow us the time to do so. But in general, there's not a high cost. It's mainly a cost in terms of hours, but the benefit that comes from it is far greater than what we invest in it.
Yeah, I would agree totally. So I wonder, in terms of the BA community, how do you define the scope, the membership, or the purpose of your community? How do you keep that purpose and those objectives focused and valuable?
Well, in terms of membership, the community was already there when I was just one of the other business analysts. I got involved myself. So I've been working on the foundations that my colleagues have laid out before me. How we did it within our company was just looking at the HR reports, who's active in the role of a business analyst. And those were the people that were targeted in communication mails and were invited to community sessions. Now, the purpose of the community itself has shifted somewhat. In the beginning, it was more of a networking opportunity and a fun side of things next to what we would call the formal training program, the open trainings that we offered in-house or that we offered throughout the year. But it has grown steadily more together, where, for instance, now in the community, we sometimes tell them this is to dry run the next level of a formal training. So the purpose has shifted. Today, it's mainly, like I already said, bringing people together, giving them the opportunity to exchange ideas, insights, skills, and increase their maturity. Sometimes we have some fun. One of the biggest events that we gather is mainly focused around a team building activity around our shared goal or shared role. But it's mainly to drive and bring together that group and indeed make people feel proud and happy to be in that role. That's the main purpose. How we do that changes from year to year, of course.
Yeah, and that definitely resonating with myself, because I think very much in the earlier days of our BA and process community, as it's known, the focus was more on, similar to yourself, bringing the people together, helping us understand who is part of the BA community or who is conducting business analysis, if you like, across the organisation. But then to help those BAs, help them with training, help them with support. So when they're on their projects, that they actually have access to the right training, do they know about the techniques we apply, they have awareness of different methodologies, even if it's something as simple as templates, really, that they have all that available to them. And whilst that's still very much a feature, and the training and the help side is very much still there, we're starting to shift our focus, at least this year, in terms of thinking about, well, what is the BA community? How can we combine and actually start looking at opportunities outside the organisation? So we're a consultancy, so very much we work with other organisations and help develop, hopefully their business analysis capabilities. So we try to leverage the common knowledge of the team that we have and the individual experiences to think about how can we take some of our learnings and take them elsewhere to other clients. So at the moment, as an example, process has been quite a feature. So we're currently looking at how we can take our process expertise around setting up things like centres of excellence, mapping processes, or even process optimization, how we can bundle that all together in a way that is obviously understandable to our clients, but all how they can appreciate the value of the individuals doing it and the collective outcome of those process features. And by having the community together means that we've got a number of very valid and useful perspectives that we can share to help us not only put the material together, but also when there are clients or there's stakeholders that wish to talk about such things, we can actually bring the experts in, the people who have been doing the work, and hopefully the result of that is not only maybe some realised client opportunities, but it's also some 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 recognition for those individuals that have contributed to the work and that those that have attended sessions and have shared their insights with the clients as well. And the more we can do of that, I think it's probably self-perpetuating in a way, because you get the buy-in of the group. They start to share their understanding and their expertise and their insights. Clients, bring that start to want to buy that expertise, as it were, and it relies then on those same individuals being behind those opportunities and then leading on to maybe training others, so it can sort of continue. So that's very much been our most recent focus, I would say, but it definitely evolves as you point out.
Yeah, and you touch on an important point. By bringing the community together and having them create new material, for instance, if you just would take, say, the BACoP as your reference guide and push that towards all your business analysts, there's some valuable information there, but they know how it's working in practice, how it's working in their projects. And at times you have to be a pragmatist and shift a little bit in order to get those results. Getting that pragmatic, practical view from your business analyst allows you to create hands-on, suited to your context material that you can then reuse. So it's an important point that you made there.
Yeah. And I wonder if, Vadim, would you mind sharing if there are any initiatives or activities or components that your BA community of practice are currently working on?
Well, we have a certain standard way of working throughout the year. So every quarter, we have what we call quarterly information sessions, where we bring information on what are the new trainings that are on offer, what are the new methodologies that we are exploring, are there new supporting materials, and so on. We do expect all our business analysts to attend. We offer those sessions in person and digitally a couple of times during set months in the year. That's the start of our calendar. And in between those, we have individual sessions, which can range from methodology deep dives, like process modeling is one that's coming up in the second half of the year. Or we invite some external speakers to enlighten us on particular topics. Some of your guests that have been on your show have also appeared mostly in digital sessions with us. So we try to mix and match. And then we also try to insert some fun activities, because, for instance, let's say our tentpole event, to call it in terms of Hollywood, is in September, and that's called this Solution Analyst Battle. Our role within Colruyt Group is called Solution Analyst, because we try to give our own spin on things. But we organize the battle in which teams of analysts come together to try and beat each other during an afternoon in any forms of puzzles and deduction. We have a great team of analyst champions who are working hard to put that together. And that draws in a crowd between 100 and 150 people, where you can really use your mental skills, but it's also a great way of connecting. So we try to mix in larger events and smaller topics, so that anyone looking at the yearly calendar or at the quarterly calendar can find something to pick and choose from.
I really like the idea of mixing things up and doing things a little differently. That solution analyst battle sounds quite interesting, I must admit. And I think just from the title alone, I feel like it's sufficiently interesting for people to want to get involved and see what it's all about. Not necessarily people that would consider themselves doing solution analysis roles, but they know if they're doing more traditional BA roles or focusing on business requirements, as an example, having that awareness through sessions like you're arranging means that they can hopefully recognise there's other areas in their career pathways that they can move on to.
Yeah,
well.
Yeah, indeed.
That sounds really good. Yeah, I mean, I think things that I will mention that we do in terms of initiatives, I think, to bring the community together. is yeah, I mentioned the process focus already, so I won't mention that too much. But we have an IIBA partnership, which is a good opportunity to bring people together, whether that's to attend IIBA events or sessions, whether they're online in person. I think that's always beneficial. I know I've attended a few of them recently, and therefore just giving access to the internal community of this external community that is, vast comparatively compared to our internal group. So it gives that all that wider access to this BA community, so people can further appreciate new approaches, new training, formal training in the case of the IIBA, of course, and that's been really useful, really helpful. And we've got, I think we have about 40 memberships a year. They get formal IIBA recognition, or they get to take qualifications through the IIBA as well. So that benefits them both on the job, but hopefully later on in their BA careers as well. So that's been particularly useful, and we had some good feedback on that. The team specifically that organised that, Ines and Gavin, to name but two, do an excellent job of that particular initiative as well. There's other things that seem to crop up as well throughout the year, I think, which are quite nice, I think, and to maybe add that element of interest. I think the BA of the year is always quite a nice opportunity for individual BAs to think a little bit selfishly, perhaps, and think about what they've done, and maybe consider if they might be willing to be, we tend to put people forward for it, but ultimately, those people that are put forward as a proposal for a BA of the year, they have to think about whether that's right for them, and they'll ultimately have to contribute to the application process. And I think that can turn out to be, irrespective of the outcome, a very positive experience. Just the act of being nominated by your internal peers and project managers is always nice. But I think even just going through the process then of considering what you've done throughout the year, taking the time to write a little bit about it and to send it off, can generally sort of inform what you might want to do in the future, or what you might want to do next. So I think that can be quite useful. I hope it is anyway for many.
Yeah, I can imagine so. Because whatever a business analyst does, we tend to not advocate ourselves enough, is in my opinion.
Yeah.
So any realizations and good ways of reaching those goals should be celebrated and should get enough attention. So the community can indeed be a conduit within the company and connecting to outside of the company. So I totally agree.
I think, as you said earlier, I know you said you have regular sessions in person, virtual sessions, and individual sessions. Some with internal individuals, sometimes with external speakers, as you mentioned as well. And I think it's really key, I think, to have that difference of approach. I think having so many different variations to how you interact with the community, how you help them, how you deliver for them, means that different individuals and personality types within the group, they will probably have ways that resonate with them, irrespective of their preferences, because you're giving a number of opportunities for people to engage. So I think that's that's as much as we can do. I think sometimes from a community of practice perspective, is just make sure that we're trying to deliver and trying to help in a variety of ways and approach things differently. Maybe just questioning very regularly, have the methods we've applied before, are they still useful? Are they valuable? Or could we do it any better? Is quite an important facet of a community of practice such as the BA.
Yeah, indeed.
And that makes me think as well about just, longer term, really keeping that community engagement and motivation over time. I know obviously you did mention the regular sessions, but are there any particular examples or activities or initiatives that you have where you're able to keep that engagement throughout your community and that motivation?
It's not so much the types of sessions or activities that's going to make the difference in my experience. As long as you offer a range of different topics and different forms, then you're okay. You have to make sure that your content is okay. But keeping the community engaged and motivated is mainly down to the people who are also active within that community. Because I might be the community, dubbed as the community owner within my company. I have a lot of colleagues who are doing volunteer work, who are putting some of their time into setting up those events. And it wouldn't be possible without them. So in keeping that community active, you have to identify a couple of champions within your organization, keeping them motivated, but also knowing that at a certain point in time, they will move on. I think that I'm about the third or the fourth person responsible for our community. And we have a shifting group of community champions who drop out and get in. So identifying new champions for your community is key. We do that by seeing who comes to our events, who's very much active, but also by identifying also our young analysts when they are in the training program, who's the type of person who might get energized by adding to the community. We identify those early on and ask them quickly to partner up with one of our champions to bring a session or write an article for our internal conference page or so on. It all comes down to the people. You're never lacking any content regards to business analysis or whatever is related to business analysis or new technology. You're always going to find content and ideas. But if you have to organize it all by yourself, it's not going to work. You got to stoke the fire and keep that fire burning.
Yeah. Now that really resonates actually, because I think I think any community practice, and they're only hearing from the leader of that practice on a continual basis, they'll soon get bored of it, if nothing else. And it also puts a lot of pressure on that lead to have to come up with interesting topics to talk about, of course. Whereas if you can try and keep the community sufficiently open so that those champions can naturally come to the fore, or if they unnaturally come to fruition, such as you identify them or they get nominated as an example, whichever the route is, that they have that opportunity to really be recognized as that champion, and that their input is valued and their ideas are valued, I think. So I think, particularly that point you mentioned about keeping the sort of the fire and the enthusiasm going. I think part of that is being open to new ideas as well from the community, and being open to their experiences that be witnessed every day in projects as they do their analysis as well. So some really interesting points you made there, Vadim, that are absolutely valid, of course. So I'm sure we can all put more things into practice to try and just give as much opportunity to our champions or to our BA community or our new joiners to just share what they're seeing, share their demands and their requirements, and just try and take more an active role in the community. So it doesn't become a community that's particularly reliant on the leadership of it, which is the ideal state, I think, for any community.
Yeah, indeed. And that's how basically every type of informal organization runs, whether it be in sports, in culture, within a company. You're asking people to invest their energy, time, and mental resources into something, mainly for the benefit of their peers. Some people feel good about that. Some people are not interested in that and will be just passive participants, and that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as you value everyone participating, and once you identify someone who has a particular skill set or something, indeed nominating them, talking to them, asking, well, wouldn't you want to bring something forth? I really think it could be interesting for your other colleagues within other teams to hear about that. Just that gets the ball rolling and keeping that fresh.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, that makes me think very much of like one of the key roles of the leader in that community is to make sure they have their eye out. They're looking for those contributors within the community that maybe haven't haven't put their hand up for whatever reason. Maybe it's confidence, maybe it's opportunity. And actually, as the leader of those communities, we have a responsibility to try and mentor and help those individuals so that they get to share all the good work they're doing with their colleagues. Maybe do more of it if that's what they want to do.
Mhm.
I wonder, is there any advice that you might give, Vadim, to anybody or any group starting a BA community of practice rather, themselves?
Well, I have a couple of tips. First of all, if you don't have anything, you're starting from a blank page. First of all, get buy-in from the management or whoever is the decision maker within your organization. They should at least condone the efforts and some time that you spend into that rather than working on particular projects or deliverables, saying, I'm going to spend 2 to 3 hours a week on getting this community rolling. If you don't have any buy-in from the management, that's going to be an uphill battle. But most of the time, as we talked about the benefits, you can, as I've seen in other companies, get that buy-in fairly easily. It's a plus if they're willing to fund and support it, to have some more interesting or larger events, but you can start small. And again, as with, I talked about the champions, identify your most active members. For instance, look at who your fellow analysts are active on the internet, writing in blogs or posting on LinkedIn, because those are the people who have to kickstart and ignite the community, even if it's just by joining a discussion group, and then letting it grow organically, I'd say. If management decides to put some extra weight behind it, you can have a sort of kickoff session where you invite everyone to ask them about what do you expect the community to provide to you, what would you want to gain from it. So maybe setting up a kickoff session would be an idea. And mainly also think about communication. Where are you going to share your ideas? Will you create a team space or a Slack channel, or do you have the possibility, for instance, an internal SharePoint or a Confluence page where you can gather ideas, post articles, links, make announcements, and you'll have to keep that fresh and going. Again, this is not a one-off. If you decide to start a community, it's a personal engagement that you will have to make for a significant amount of time before you can even think about handing it over to someone else. It's not something to be taken lightly. So again, apply your business analysis skills. Who are your stakeholders? What do they need? Gather your requirements. Make a proposal. How do you engage them? You've got those skills, you're using them in day-to-day activities, planning, and so on. Apply that to your community. And if you're at loss, you can look at other organizations, whether it be IIBA or RMUK, local organizations bringing together business analysts from different companies. Go to one of those events and talk to those people. How are you doing it? Can you mentor me? Can you give me some advice? And so on. I've asked numerous questions of people that I've connected with on LinkedIn from other companies, asking for advice, even to this day. So there's lots of information there. You don't have to do it alone, but you have to make the engagement.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and definitely it contributes to keeping things fresh. I think at the point you made earlier on about injecting new ideas or new speakers. I mean, I think if you're also going to reach out externally, find out how others are leading their community, I think is always really key. I totally agree with the point as well about having that almost that infrastructure, whether it's a Confluence page or a SharePoint site or a Teams page, just some way for the group once you've brought them together to communicate and to share ideas is so vital because I think if we make it hard work for the community to interact, then it'll be no surprise that they'll stop interacting with each other. Whereas we want to try and make it as easy as possible to to rely on and utilize the strengths of each other as well. So anything we can do on that helps. And I think where that regular communications you also could point out can be really valuable because you know most of us work in organisations where the BA community isn't stable. We have people leaving the organisation all the time. We have new joiners all the time. So particularly, we need to make sure that any new joiners are aware that there is that community that is available for them as they've joined, and that maybe there's new champions within that group that we can bring into our group as well. And I always like to recognise when there's people who are leaving the organisation. I think trying to make a point of recognising them as well. We have a page dedicated to our core team, as it were. So basically, those regular contributors to the community. Albeit it's at the bottom, but we still keep a recognition of those that have contributed but have now left as well. So that nobody's truly forgotten, as it were. Once they move on, hopefully to better things.
Oh, that's nice. Sounds like a Hall of Fame.
Yes, sort of like that. I mean, I guess it's certainly we try to do that from the starting point, is to share some real faces and real people of our BA community, so that it doesn't just appear to be this inanimate object that isn't really for the people as it was intended to be. So I think when you can start to put more than just the lead of the community on a page and says these are your members, go and speak to them, go and get help, go and tap them on the shoulder if you want to be involved, then that can all help. And ideally, the more faces we see on that page, the better, because it means there's more people contributing, sharing advice, helping each other as well. But I think it's nice for them to have that recognition that when you join that page, you can see their name in lights a little bit, to see that they're part of the valuable community work that you're delivering. So I think my advice would definitely be around get that tooling in place so that you have that means to communicate. And I think, to your point as well, just being in it for the long haul is so applicable, because it's very rare that as soon as you set things up that it all goes to plan. That every member of the community comes together straight away. Sometimes that isn't always the case, and I think the longer you can stick with it, the more new ideas, new people you bring in. I think it's inevitable that it will grow, and the reliance on the one or two people will dissipate. But there we go. But but looking externally as well can definitely help. Hopefully, sessions like this might be helpful as well. Now, just before we go into our last question, I should also remind people that are watching this, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video as well. It really helps share information, to share the fact there is a BAInsights channel out there. That's the way we share it, by liking. And really importantly, if you've got comments yourself, whether it's in relation to how you've set up or been part of a community of practice, I'd always love to hear from you. Who knows, you might also want to be a guest at some point in the future. I'm really open to that as well. All right, but thank you.
And I'll be curious as well in what's going to appear in the comments, because I also want to know what other people are doing and learn from them.
That's it. We're always, as BAs, we're always inquisitive individuals. So it's always nice to know what others are doing, how we can improve, and looking beyond the way we practice is always, in my experience, the right way of doing it. So there we go. So I think just one more question, I think, actually, Vadim, and that is really, what would you say is the most important ingredient for a successful BA community of practice?
Well, if someone watching this video hasn't skipped some parts, they should know the answer that I'm going to give. And that's going to be the business analysts who are driving that community. It's as simple as that. You're knowing who your champions are, finding them, supporting them, valuing them, and that's going to drive the community. Ideas will come from the community or requirements or what they need, that will come up as time goes on. But like any organization that is built on people, that is bringing people together around a shared idea or a shared role, depends on a couple of us taking the charge and making sure that it remains active. That's the most important ingredient.
Yeah.
Everything else, the world will provide, be it in methods or technology or ideas or news, whatever.
That's it. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that one myself. I mean, yeah, business analysts are definitely that key ingredient, and the more we can help them be successful, contribute, and learn from each other, or be part of the community, I'm sure the community will be better for it as well. It makes me think as well. I mean, that's something we try to do as part of our community is, because quite often we'll be on projects as BAs, we don't always get the opportunity to learn particular techniques or at least apply techniques that we've learned. So what we try and do within the community is being part of the core group that are delivering on behalf of the community internally. Sometimes that's an opportunity to basically utilize those BA skills that you maybe don't get to use on your current project as well, or maybe to learn new skills from others in what might be perceived a safer environment, as it were, as not a live project. So that's something else we do, and hopefully that helps those BAs become more of a successful ingredient as part of the BA community anyway. But I feel like between us, Vadim, I think we've covered quite a lot and given quite a lot of insight, particularly yourself, on BA communities and community of practice. So I'd just like to thank you for your contribution, your insight, and your time as well. And definitely look forward to hearing from you and speaking to you again as part of the wider BA community.
Glad to do it, and thanks for the opportunity. Hope to connect later on, John.
Anytime, Vadim. Thank you.